Hey, everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live, headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is Tyler.
And this is KC.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
What's happening, all my woods people? I am freezing cold, but luckily we're in a truck again.
That's
and
right.
We've got gas to make the heater go.
We just chose to be in the truck this time. It has to be, but it's warm here.
We could have done this on the tailgate about an hour and a half ago probably, but the sun is down and the temperature is rapidly dropping at this point. It kind of resembles like a deer season evening in the stand.
It does.
You know what I mean?
If this was October 28th, that'd be pretty jacked up right now.
Oh, dude. If this was like November and it was local, it would be jacked for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's freezing cold, which it was cold a little under exactly a year ago when we were hunting opening weekend for turkeys. So cold that you shot a big old gob on a Sunday morning that had frost in its beard.
That was cool, man. That was like the second long beard I'd ever shot. Previous the day before was the first. First like doing the turkey thing at least. Actually first in the springtime. That was awesome, man. And I would imagine that there are some frosty bearded turkeys out there right now. We didn't get frost here, but where we were going to go turkey hunting and still are going to go turkey hunting, it was frosty there. So that's going down, and we have decided to just advert from going and doing that deal and wait till it's just a little bit better weather. Maybe the end of this week. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see about that. But we're going to get turkey hunt done sooner or later.
Yeah, we have kind of a conundrum because we did the public turkey thing in Texas, and I don't know if they exist yet or not. I'm sure some people out there listening are like laughing at us. I do know there's a few people that have messaged us over the years that kill turkeys every once in a while on public in Texas.
I don't want to be an every once in a while kind of guy.
No, not for turkeys, really.
Deer's fine.
Yeah,
but not turkeys.
It's just not. It's not fun to me to walk around when it's like 85 degrees in the woods trying to kill a turkey.
Getting ticks all over you.
Yeah, ticked all up, and rattlesnakes raging, and water moccasins. We encountered more water moccasins on public land that year that we hunted turkeys.
We did.
Than turkeys. But, yeah, it's, I don't know. I would rather be in a boat fishing this time of year if I was going to be not listening to turkeys. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that is said to say that we have acquired kind of a friend permission on some property that if you saw the Hooked film that we released, the turkey film last year, it's on that property.
And if you haven't, that will be in the description below.
There you go.
By the way.
So, click that after this. But, so anyway, so my point is, the friend of a friend has got to, well, I don't know how that really works. Our friend, who's a mutual friend of the friend who owns the property, kind of has to be with us. And he somehow has kept a steady schedule through the week, through this coronavirus. I don't even know if I know what he does.
Yeah, he works remotely from home on his computer, so I don't really know what's going on. But we're going to make it work out before the end of turkey season.
Yeah. The weekends have been terrible, though, so far.
Every weekend is a bad weather weekend.
Yeah, it rains like crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So we do have some friends out who are slaying birds right now.
Yep.
And we're going to actually have a couple of them on the podcast today. Phillip Culpepper and Drake Lamb. We had Drake. How long ago did we have Drake on?
Man, it's been too
Like 2
soon.
months?
It's been too soon. No.
So really, Phillip is the guy who we interview, and Drake's here for just like some good old
ribbon.
Yeah, see, exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever he needs to drop a bomb, he can.
Yeah, he has to let us know that Phillip is actually a superstitious guy.
That's right. So those dudes are filming REALTREE Spring Thunder right now and slaying some birds, and we're gonna. I think they're kind of en route between states or something like that.
Yeah, they were en route, and we talked to them. We also were fishing, so if there's any weird wind noise or anything, just excuse that. We told them before we got going on the podcast, we said, hey, guys,
it's the one time we're not in a truck, so we're going to have to do it.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm just like, man, it's just too good of a day. We're going to have to be fishing. I said, if things get weird, that just means we caught an 8-pounder or whatever.
That's right.
So they were all cool with it, man. That's a good thing about a dude like that you can relate to, man. I enjoyed having them on. This is actually a really fun interview. Of course, Drake was fun the first time we had him around, but we never really talked to Phillip before. We just went on Drake's word that he was a decent guy, And
you can trust old Drake, man.
That's right. What kind of what does Culpepper come from? You think that's a guy who cultivated peppers back in the day? That's where that family name came?
No. There's that restaurant in Rockwall that was Culpeppers. There might still be. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's used to be French and it's Culpepper.
Culpepper.
He looks like he could be a little French or something.
Yeah, he might be.
Yeah.
He's pretty Georgian though, that's for
He
sure.
is.
And I don't mean the country, I mean the state. But anyway, I'm excited to have them on. So be looking forward to that in just a second. But we've got a couple things we want to chat about. Turkeys being one, which one thing I wanted to talk about is you've been last couple of years you use a very original call, and I wanted to just make sure and let people in on this call that you and I use that they should use. It's really effective. It was effective last year at least.
That's right, man. It's called the box call, voice box call.
Voice box
Isn't that
call.
it?
Yeah, that's it. Or Vox. We call it Vox.
So Tyler's more experienced than I am at turkey calling, but I've been working on my turkey call my whole life. It's just something you can do, and I feel like we are. What's the right word here?
Experts.
What could I apply the word expert to? I don't know. We are capable. That's what we are when it comes to calling in turkeys. And we're actually going to talk to Phillip and them about this a little bit. But, we're not going to be the Kiki run kind of guys. We're going to be the guys who go to a place where there's a bunch of turkeys and go and get them to come in.
Yep.
And I only have, when we go on a turkey trip, I only have a day and a half worth. And then I lose my voice. Because it's also allergy and Rona season out there. So, it gets pretty tough. You remember when we did the public land bird thing? We were yelping, the whole day long. Because ain't a turkey out there.
No.
You gotta sound like a real only hen.
It's windy, and you can see off the edge of this field that's 600 yards away. You're like, man, I hope they're over there.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a deal, man. We all got a little turkey call inside us.
We do.
Yep. And except for when we got the coronavirus.
Oh man, I hope y'all are all staying safe and healthy out there, though, guys. This is a crazy time for all of us, but it's a great time to get outside. So do that. Y'all been getting outside.
Yeah, we've been getting outside.
You have got new developments in your life.
Possibly. I hope.
I mean,
yeah.
It's pretty much going down, right?
You think? I don't know how this goes, man. I feel like until I pretty much got the deed, the deed has not been done.
That's true.
You know
That's true. But when you set a signing date, it's usually things are looking up.
I mean, the contracts are signed. I don't know how. I'm not an expert in this. I don't know how it would get ruined or broken at this point. It doesn't seem like it would, but
I mean, the title company could find something weird or something. But y'all kind of already gone through that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a survey and
So you've been a property owner, but you're fixing how would you say this? You're about to become a
land manager.
A land manager. Yeah. So I got a question for you.
Yep.
I bought land about 1.5 years ago. A little bit smaller tract than what you're going to have, but kind of similar properties with some woods on the back and pasture on the front.
It's kind of like a mullet.
Yeah. Duh.
Party in the back.
So, and you've kind of seen what I've done to my property and seen what.
I don't know. I got a funny story about that.
Seen like some of the dumb stuff I've done and some of the cool stuff or whatever.
Not that.
But what is going to be your first move as a land manager?
My wife asked me that earlier, about 20 minutes ago.
She may have given me the idea
ago.
for the question.
Really? Like you said, it's a little bit bigger than your property, but a lot more pasture probably, relative or ratio. It's the first thing that I'm probably going to do is try to find ways to shield or screen the property in certain manners. That's the first thing I could think in like when I think about how I'm going to manage it for deer.
You're not going to burn it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I might burn it next year.
Never going to have turkeys on it.
I probably won't, but
Just
have to keep relying on a friend of a friend.
That's right.
No, I don't know. That's the thing is like it's enough. There's enough open land that I can't really screen it all. It's just going to cost too much. It'd be too labor intensive. But I'm trying to figure out ways to like create screens around food. Basically from the road, but there's a pretty good screen on the roadway overall. Like there's some good honeysuckle growing up and stuff like that. But there's these places where you can definitely see, and I just think the more native grass I can get on it and bushy stuff, man, plum thicket and stuff like that, the better it'll be. But it's probably gonna take some time. Your property was a little ahead of mine.
Yeah, it's just a little wilder. It hadn't been grazed in forever, so it made a big difference. But one of the things I figured out, if you will allow me to give a little advice, is that I had the idea of like going in there and messing with a bunch of stuff and changing things, doing all this stuff, but like it didn't take long to really understand that really accentuating what you already have is so much easier to do. Now there are some things you want to add, like maybe some type of food or whatever, or do some improvements like that. But for me, like I wanted to, put switchgrass in some places, and it just does not want to take on my property. And then I did a food plot, and the deer hardly even used it. And I know it takes some time to do all of that, and whatever. But like, there was some stuff like I just made a four-wheeler road through the middle of it, and it made a travel route for deer, and they used it. Like, and there's just like these little easy things you can do. And like I think about your property. And it's kind of a little bit behind on, or not behind, but just not quite to the, I guess, grown up fallow field that you want it to be because it's been grazed. I think that you could probably, this time of year, hire some, feed store or whatever, bring a honey wagon truck out there and just spread manure on the thing. And I mean, it's going to cost you like $100, and suddenly you have a fertilized pasture that's going to grow up and just give you what you want.
Yeah,
I
thought about that. I actually searched that the other day. It was like, can you fertilize native grass? Was something I searched the other day. I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't really find an answer.
I wouldn't throw triple 13 on it. I would do something like, native grass is made to have native things happen to it, right? So, throw out manure and get after it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do is that, and like you mentioned burning, what I'll probably do is like burn small sections.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I'll probably just burn small sections so that like I never actually lose whatever screening I have to.
You know what I found too by doing that is that you end up every small section you burn ends up actually looking a little bit different. Like one I burned last year has a bunch of this wispy, like I don't know what kind of grass it is. It kind of looks like tickleweed or something. And then stuff I burned this year, it's got a bunch of forbs and stuff growing in it. And I think it's because different amounts of rain and you don't always burn on the same dates or whatever. And variety is what you want in wildlife, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if you burn the whole thing, it's all going to grow up back and similar stuff, it seems.
One of the guys I'm gonna do a deep dive into his YouTube playlists and stuff. But Jeff Sturgis, we've had him on the podcast before, and he's just so good, man. He's just got so many good ideas. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna dive into those a little bit because he talks about, and this is like as much as I love wildlife, I'm gonna create property that definitely lends itself to holding different types of wildlife and that kind of thing. I didn't just, buy this acreage to raise butterflies. You know what I mean? Like there's something that's a little more valuable to me than butterflies and raccoons and rabbits, and it's deer. And I like them all. Don't get me wrong. But I haven't ever done a full body mount of a rabbit and put it in my house, you know what I mean, or a shoulder mount even. So, I know somebody who's got a jackrabbit full body mounted, so maybe I should get on the boat. But no, it's So my point is, I want to create basically what Jeff says all the time is create a property that holds deer during the daytime during hunting season, and that's how you can better control what the herd dynamics. Essentially, you can control how many does are in the area. You can control how many bucks are in the area and what types of bucks and how mature they can get and those kind of things. So those are things I'm looking at, and this is all very new to me. If you're a longtime listener or watcher of YouTube, you probably know we have hunted a lot of public land in the past because we've never had these opportunities too much, and even just getting permission on stuff around here especially has been very, very hard. So this is a new deal for us, and what's funny to me is it may not be what some of these guys that are listening they tuned into us originally for, but this is like. I can promise you, there are so many guys my age. I could name. I honestly don't know anybody my age besides you that lives at such low means. And makes such a low income. Yeah. And this is just me speaking the truth right here. We always try to be transparent with everybody, man. But I'm just trying to make a point that like us doing what we're doing with these properties is just because we value them like so much. And we value the wildlife, the property, the ability to get out and to raise a family in a outdoor science classroom kind of deal, Like those are just important things to us. And we've dedicated pretty much to the max of our means on some of these properties.
I mean, next to family preservation, this is the next important thing to us when it comes to economic stuff.
Yeah,
right? Like
that's that. And what I'm saying is like it's just. Dude, you could do this. If you are listening to this, I mean, you can do this. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you right now, you make more money than me. And so you can do this. And I know different situations. We've got different situations and different family dynamics and stuff. But I just wanted to say that, like, eventually this is something that you should look forward to if you really do like to deer hunt and that kind of thing. Public land's great. I'll always hunt it because I love the opportunities and different challenges and the different dynamics you get with 6,000 or 10,000 or even 640 acres, you know what I mean? As opposed to, 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever that we might have. So that's just kind of a statement I wanted to make about this, though.
Well said, sir.
It's a new journey.
Well said.
It's a new journey for us. It's going to be a little different, but I can promise you we're still going to be bringing you public land content. And in the next podcast, you might figure out why. So we're not going to actually say that yet.
Ooh, baby. And, I mean, honestly, if we cross a state line, we're going to be pretty much on public land. Unless we get permission to do, hunt, when we do that from time to time. But whenever we cross the state line, we're looking to go to public land pretty much because it's the opportunity and that's what's there. So it's not like we're relinquishing our public land hunting by any means.
We are pretty sure so far we're going to have at least 3 public land out of state tags that we're going to hold next year.
Yeah,
maybe more.
More.
I mean, definitely, I would think more. But like, we've got. You were talking about this before you got in here, but there's probably 2 in the mail on the way to us right now. We will talk more about that when we're for sure about it. And then there's one that I put in for that if I had the same points that I do last year, I would have drawn it 100%. So all things the same, I draw that tag this year too.
With Rona, I bet you less people put in this year.
That's what I keep hearing. So we will see. But those are some tags. There's also some over-the-counter opportunities that we're looking at. And we've still got more draws that are happening. I'm looking at putting in for 2 more by the end of the month. So
speaking of draws, Let's talk to somebody with a southern drawl.
Let's do it, man.
Phillip
There's a couple
Culpepper.
of them.
Man, yeah, Drake is learning. He is, dude. He's into the fried food right now. I love it, dude. I love it. And this was a fun talk with these dudes. We did not catch a single fish while we were on the phone. So
No, we caught one right after, though.
we did. You caught a big one.
And how about the glitch? The worst glitch in Facebook history.
That's right, man. Dadgummit. It went from live video, and we're like, oh, we're getting this on live, and then it shows you, like, releasing a fish.
I'm like fighting the fish, and then there's his tail going through the water.
Right.
It's like he's gone.
Oh, man. Well, you know something else you can do is go kill turkeys in many states, apparently. Not me, not you, because we don't know what we're doing, but Phillip Culpepper knows what he's doing, and we are going to talk to him on the podcast right now.
All right, so now on the phone we got Phillip Culpepper from REALTREE. Man, you told me you're headed west. That means you got to have some bird tags filled, right?
Yes, sir. We're rolling right now, headed to Mississippi. So we're right in the middle of the Corona tour.
Oh, golly.
So it's the coronavirus tour we're in the middle of.
I'm glad you said virus, because I was not sure where you were going with that,
No, we'd be headed south if we were on the Corona tour.
That's right, man. Looking for a Golds down in Mexico, right?
Yeah. No, we're headed to Mississippi, man. We got a buddy over here. Fortunate enough, we met a few months ago, and he's got a nice little place kind of off the grid. So we're going just to kind of relax and try to catch some fish and shoot some turkeys.
Awesome, man.
I thought you couldn't catch fish. That's what you told us off air a while ago.
No, I can, but I can go sit on the dock. I got a couple buddies. I got Drake Lamb with me. I know he can fish circles around anybody. So I get entertainment out of just watching him fish.
That's right. See, we had Drake on not long ago, actually, and we didn't know it. He was a fisherman with all the big sheds he was finding up there. It's all he could talk about.
I'm telling you, man. I barely got him to come turkey hunting. He was more worried about finding sheds.
He was on them this year, man. I don't know. He knows when they're moving. He knows when the sheds are moving. That's for
ain't
sure.
No doubt. He killed a giant too. So
yeah. So well, cool, man. So Texas opens for us this weekend, and we're gonna try to get after them at some point, probably this week. We got some bad weather for opening, which we had bad weather last year. We had actually KC killed a bird that had frost in his beard in West Texas.
Oh wow!
On opening weekend, which is early February, early April. So.
Man, I got chills just hearing that.
Hey,
man, frost in the beard. It's cold.
It was cool, man. Like I'm not much of a turkey hunter. It's just we grew up in a weird spot of the country where there actually isn't turkeys. We're kind of right between Easterns and Rios, and you got to drive like at least an hour either direction to go find birds, and it's kind of a strange anomaly. But so I didn't really grow up with that turkey culture. And then last year was the first opportunity I had to really go and get on birds, and we were lucky to have a piece of private that had a lot of birds on it, which makes a huge difference. We tried the public thing a little bit. It's tough.
if you get in them, man, it makes it a world of difference.
Oh,
it's an addicting sport, I can tell you, especially if you ever do it and start getting, you start busting some beaks, it gets addicting, man. I about got kicked out of high school because I was turkey hunting too much. So
where'd you go to high school?
What's that?
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to a little Christian school in Columbus, Georgia, called Calvary Christian. And, man, luckily my senior year I had a deal worked out with my homeroom teacher. If I brought him a biscuit, if I brought him a biscuit, he'd count me as present or I could turkey hunt about every day. So
that is about as good as I've heard right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so I got the butter biscuit from McDonald's probably saved my get my GED.
That's right, man. That's awesome. So, did you guys have a good football team there? I know there's some pretty good Georgia private schools that have good football teams.
They're actually pretty decent now, I think. When I was there, they didn't even have football. We had just gotten into baseball because we were kind of a small school, and I played baseball a couple years until I realized I wasn't any good. So I better just focus on turkey hunting.
Yeah.
Were you like Jethro on the Beverly Hillbillies? You hunted them with rocks,
I wasn't that bad, but I wasn't far off, I can tell you.
Oh, that's funny. So how far was the turkey hunting spot from the school?
Man, I would. It just depend. I had a couple buddies right there outside of town that we'd go, and the closest probably 10 to 15 minutes, and then some of them would be half an hour, 45 minutes. So,
yeah.
it was, and then some days, of course, if you got on a turkey, I'd just come in at lunch. So most people would know that if I ever got on one, they just asked if I killed them or not. They wouldn't even ask where I've been. So,
how many turkeys can you kill in Georgia?
Georgia, we can kill 3.
Yeah. And you guys, are you tagged out in Georgia this year?
Yeah, I am. This is the earliest I've ever tagged out.
Man.
It's crazy, and it's the first year I drew a pretty good public area, and me and Drake went in there the first day and killed a turkey, and then we got our butt kicked pretty good the second day, and then the third day we went in there and killed 2 on 2 different setups. So we had a good run on public land this year.
That's cool. So what's the what's the difference in a good draw unit there in Georgia versus just the general public?
Well, and so obviously you got some public, some of your national forest stuff is just that. I say that Alabama's got national forest stuff, and so that's just pretty much you just walk on and go hunt. But something in Georgia, we got WMAs to where normally the first 3 weeks of the season they'll draw hunts, and then after that it's just open to the general public.
Oh yeah.
So so that first draw I've been putting in for, I hadn't even drawn. I had three preference points built up, and I luckily enough got lucky and drew it. And we went in there blind, kind of, the first morning. We had a buddy that hunted it and dropped us some pins where he had heard some turkeys, and we kind of scouted it out, and then kind of went exploring and got into them pretty good. So it was fun though. It was something, I guess, different from the norm.
Sure,
because especially being right there at home, right there in my backyard. I've always had places, whether little tracks I've had permission to hunt or leash. I grew up there, but then having something like that's public land right there in my backyard, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool, man. So those birds, why do people want to hunt that spot? Because it's relatively unpressured at that point in the year or through the years? Yeah,
and that early, obviously we drew that first hunt, so it was really good. And they, and kind of kudos to the Georgia DNR. They do a heck of a job managing, and they'll go in there and set the limits on what they think it needs to be, and they burn and they plant food plots and stuff. So it's good. I mean, it really is it's managed very well. So it's perfect, turkey habitat. But I mean, this year I've talked to a lot of people around the house who's been in turkeys, because I think we had such good hatches a couple years ago. The past couple of 3 years we've had really good hatches, and I think it's paying dividends right now.
Sure. So what's the difference in? I mean, have you hunted Rios much? I guess.
Yeah, I've hunted Rios quite a bit.
What's the? I mean, are Easterns really that much tougher, or is it? Is that a true thing?
They are tough. I mean, I've always said a turkey's a turkey, and a hen-up turkey is dang sure a turkey. So, I mean, if it don't matter where you at, if they're hen-up, it's going to be tough. But traditionally, like your Rios and Merriams and stuff like that, they won't hold up near as much. A lot of times when they're ready to come, they'll just run you over and they'll gobble the brains outward. These Easterns, man, like we were on a turkey this morning on some private land. We took a guy and just, they just do. It's almost like they got a sixth sense, and it's I don't know why they do what they do. Sometimes it's like they just lose interest, or they just won't gobble, or that's like that. Every turkey's got a bubble. I know a lot of people use that analogy for decoying them. Every one of them's got a bubble. If you get inside that bubble, they're going to come to you. But I'm convinced, especially some of these southern turkeys, these Easterns, even on calling them, they got a bubble to where if you get inside it, you can really work them and get them to come in. But if you're not, it's like they won't even. They may gobble at you a little bit, but you really got to work the lay of the land and get inside their head to I think, repeat success.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always that weaker few days, 4 or 5 days, with them kamikaze turkeys. They'll just run you over. You can beat pots and pans together, and they're going to come in there to you. But I think to consistently kill them and get them, figured out, you really got to. I mean, it's crazy, but you got to think like a turkey, and you got to really, I mean, I grew up getting my butt kicked by them, so it's kind of like I'm glad growing up I was growing up that way, to where if we only had one turkey on our property, you had to make it count. You couldn't just go running, gunning through it and blowing turkeys out,
Yeah, right. Well, I tell Tyler all the time that I really like dumb turkeys, and maybe I guess judging by what you said, you got to think like a turkey. So I might be not so smart, but
Well, there ain't nothing better than a dumb turkey, and there ain't nothing worse than a nickname turkey.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you ever get on somebody saying, "Man, I got old Three Toes over here," that's the last place I want to go. So it's if they nickname, that means they've been hunted. I can tell you.
Yeah, I believe you. So do you do a lot of there around home? kind of where you cut your teeth. Were birds in different types of terrain, or were they mostly like in the big wood setting?
We do. We have a little bit of mixture. Mainly we got rolling hardwoods and some and some pasture. You get on some cattle farms that are got more pasture than others, and then a lot of our land around the house there is timber company, so it's rotated out, being clear cut or planted pines and just different age structure of pines. So, but all in all, it's the most. It's a run and gun style, layout. What I like to call it, where you really gotta, you can. We were on a turkey the other day. We struck a turkey that, sit there cranked out on the call and just trying to get the turkey found and nothing. Then you walk 50 yards and then you just get them fired up because it's just the terrain. So in certain spots it's so hilly and the pines, it deafens the sound so much. Man, you really got to do a lot of running, gun, and calling to just for them to hear you.
Yeah.
Right.
So
then on top of that, you got to pray they're going to answer. So
Yeah.
when you're in that thick stuff like that, are you carrying decoys on your back and just kind of deciding, by situation, if you're actually going to use a decoy or if you're just going to mouth call and try to get them in?
Yeah, it depends. Like if I got a little HS Jake we've been using the last couple of years. I really like if I'm going to put a decoy out. And then if we got the time, I normally will put him out. And then if not, I got a little kind of a half strut decoy with a fan on it that I just carry by my side, kind of a homemade deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I normally don't. I never put it out. If I'm calling to a turkey, I always lay it down by my side and kind of use it as a last resort type thing, to where you can show it to them. Not only does it, I think it's a more aggressive decoy, but right there you can hold it. It gives it a little bit of movement. And turkeys, a lot of times, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
If they just a little bit of that movement. So traditionally though, if we get the lay of the land right, sometimes I won't even use a decoy. But if and our turkeys can be so finicky, if they can see too far, sometimes I won't use a decoy. Or if it's a ridge where they're going to pop up and be right there, sometimes I won't, because a lot of times they pop up and see it. It's almost like it freaks them out.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know, it's kind of a gut feeling deal how they're working and how he's coming. But if it's something like, we need a few more yards, that looks like there's a spot where they can hang up, I'll normally put one out. But we're trying to, kind of a deal closer.
Yeah. So I know you probably got a few industry connections, and with all that, you still had to make a homemade decoy.
Well, it is. It was a one that I kind of cut up. It was, and then I got so much sentimental value to it. I added a little few features and put some wings on it. And by the time it was about a 2-year process, I was like, dang, I better hang on to this thing. It took me too long to make.
That's the one thing I've noticed. I've talked to a couple guys who are true and true turkey hunters, and it sounds like that's what you are too. And turkey hunters are some sentimental and superstitious folks. Yeah, that's something I've figured out. Do you feel like you kind of carry some superstitions along the way too?
Man, I'm not superstitious. I'm not superstitious at all. I do have the same pair of underwear on all year. So I'm not superstitious at all.
The most superstitious dude I've ever met.
I am. Like certain things, it's like the air can, I tell Drake, the air can never be on 66. It's got to be either on 65 or 67. And like, probably the most superstitious thing is I never, in the mornings at daylight, regardless of what kind of morning it is, I never will put because I got a little 3/4 head net I wear that you can just pull around your neck, kind of like a scarf, and you just pull it up when you're ready to go.
Yep.
But I never put it on before daylight until I hear a turkey gobble. So I keep it in my vest until I know there's a turkey gobbling, and then I'll put it around my neck. But the times I've ever put it on, like knowing we're going to be on a turkey, you won't hear a turkey.
But I put mine on every time before the hunt. Yeah, to contradict it. Tell them that it doesn't work.
Getting scolded over there, aren't you, Greg?
I've taken a few guys, and I'm like, man, they're ready to go. Like, man, don't put your head net on. Hang tight.
No matter how bad the mosquitoes are, does it?
Yeah. I do that. And I try to always put one extra shotgun shell in my pocket.
Yeah.
But
is that for the runner?
That's not necessarily sentimental value. That's just because I can't hardly hit the broadside of the barn. So I always got an extra load there.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you have a turkey spur or something in your pocket as a good luck charm?
No, I don't. I might need to go to that, though.
Yeah, I would think so, man. I don't know. Anyway, I got a question about calling for you, because I feel like I am by no means a turkey expert. I don't go every year, but I've been, over the years several times.
And I'm learning from him, so if that tells you anything.
So, and the reason is, like KC said, we're in a weird strip that literally has no turkeys in it in Texas. And so as far as calling goes, I pretty much, I know some of the calls, how they go, and maybe can make them sound somewhat like that. But really, I'm going to stick to the yelp. And and since we're hunting Rios, we're killing birds, most of the time if we're hunting amongst birds. But is old three-toe, is he like a bird that you can call in if you're an expert caller? Or is it just, are there birds that pretty much it's like you're either going to call that bird in with a yelp or you're not going to call him in at all? It doesn't matter how good a calling you can do.
If you can yelp, just do the plain yelp of a hen and learn how, whether it's a box call or a diaphragm or slate call, and cluck, you can kill turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes. Now, granted, if you can get the if a turkey's right, you're gonna kill them. If you can get the cutting part down, or you can get a little more aggressive, that's gonna help you. May help you speed the process up a little bit, or get you to strike a turkey that you wouldn't regularly hear. But I'm gonna tell you, the best advice I can give you on calling is I used to have a little cassette tape, and I can remember driving my dad nuts before I could even drive, and then all the way through high school I would listen to it over and over and over of just natural hens yelping, and it would be a whole an hour and a half long tape, but it would be from tree yelping all the way down to when they're flying down with the gobblers. But if you can get the rhythm and the volume and know how to go up and down your volume, you'll kill turkeys. Because the main rhythm of just a hen, just the cadence and the rhythm of a hen yelping, and then not just yelling at them when they're getting closer, you'll kill turkeys. If you can just gear it back, it's almost just like, I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was asking the same thing. I said, man, it's almost like if you got somebody across your front yard, and if you yell at them to get their attention, and then they come walking up to your porch, and you just keep on that same volume yelling at them, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
And I was like, man, if you can gear it down, and that's the same way with turkeys, to where those soft little subtle yelps, that's some of the biggest deal closers there is.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people, it's just that, and even a little bit of an imperfection, if you want to call it, of changing up your yelp to where if you let one of your notes drag or a little something to change it up to where it's not like a recording.
Right.
Where he's hearing the same exact thing over and over and over. But if you listen to real hens in the wild, you can nowadays you can look it up on YouTube. You'll if you pay attention to that, you'll pick up on that and be like, dang, they're not. Because the callers nowadays, and they're incredible. They would make an old hen go jump off in a lake. A hen that's out there now, because they're incredible. But there's some hens that sound awful. But they got that cadence and that rhythm and that volume down to where I'm a true believer that's what seals the deal.
Yeah. So, okay, what call's your favorite call to use? What kind of call?
Probably a diaphragm.
Yeah.
If I'm really working a turkey, a diaphragm. But if I'm like running, gunning, like trying to strike one up, is a box call.
So just because of volume or what? Why is that? Well,
yeah, just because of volume, and I don't, and I'll, as much ground as we cover, and because I'm very impatient. So if we're trying to find turkey, I'd rather go. If you got the property to do it and the ability, I'd rather bump 5 of them that aren't going to talk and not going to work, and go find one that is, versus sitting there and wait on one. So, but that being said, you just get wore out, wear a diaphragm out if you just go all day and don't hear a turkey. To where I like just mixing it up with a box and a diaphragm. And a box carries so much more, and I can cut on it better so much more. It seems like I make a turkey strike. That's my main reason.
Now, when you say cut, that's something that you're doing to excite the turkey, right?
Yeah, so it's just like a hen just getting excited, just like when she flies down, she's pretty much just cutting,
sure,
pitching off the limb or flying a creek or like a cackle, to where it's almost just a pop pop pop. It's like a 1-2. It's like 1-1-2 1-2. That's all they're doing, and then even people that are trying to, and I'm no perfectionist at it by any means, but people that they get ahead of themselves and try to do like a whole cackle, to where, and that's where it gets blurred up and kind of trashy, to where if you just learn to just that pop, 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 pop on a box call or a diaphragm, whatever it is, and then you figure the single and double notes out, and then you put them together, and that's how you make a cackle.
Right.
Versus, but that aggressive, that cut and aggressive, that pop, 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 pop that they'll make. I mean, that's all you got to do. And I mean, that lets that turkey know that you're looking for them. I mean, you're she's excited. That's when they do that, when they're excited. So
is that something you're going to do, as turkeys are flying off the roost, or can you do that at 10 a.m. too?
No, I do it. Yeah, I do it. I do way more on middle of the day and throughout the day, to where, especially when you're trying to strike a turkey. I mean, I'll start off soft. If we're just walking the road yelping, I'll start off soft, and then sometimes I'll just walk down the road, just cut and trying to get one to gobble. But I mean, it's and Eddie Salter taught me this years ago, and it always stuck with me, because I'd always read books and studied everything, to where the old rule of thumb was, if you strike a turkey and he's coming, you let him come, and you get softer and softer and softer. And almost, or you're almost tree yelping where he's right there, to where I'll never forget, I was with him one time, I was filming him, and we had a turkey come from 400 yards. He was gobbling. We were in South Alabama, and he came up and he was like 70 yards just out of sight. And Eddie had been real soft yelping. And then all of a sudden he just cranked down on him and just cut 2 times, just pop, pop, as loud as he could be. And that turkey gobbled. And I was thinking to myself then, I was like, man, you ain't supposed to do that. And then this is Eddie Salter. I'm thinking, man, you ain't, crap, we're going to spook him or something. So, and it wasn't 2 minutes, that turkey come out in the road and strutted all the way down the road, and he killed him. And so I'll never forget, we were driving, and that stuck with me, and I was asking him, I said, man, what was that? He said, man, that's that hen. He goes, I got soft with him, and that's that hen saying, I'm tired of waiting, you better come on. To where there is a time and a place, I think, that you can't just get loud and just completely hammer them,
Right.
But there is that the more comfortable you get, and I think that's, again, knowing turkeys a little bit too, being around and seeing situations to where them hens, I mean, they'll do that, to where they're almost like, you better come on or else I'm leaving.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But back to the cutting deal, yeah, I cut up into the morning. I mean, all day, me and Drake will run and gun daylight to dark, and I'm constantly, trying to strike a turkey up. Because normally that more excited stuff is what's going to get them struck up. But once he gives his location away and we move in and make a game plan, I'll gear it back down to where you don't just hammer them the whole time. So,
So you said you do like to do that later in the day. Do you feel more confident like at daylight when you've got a bird coming off the roost, or do you like a bird that you've struck up and have located later in the day?
Man, if he's answering you good in the morning, I like it. I mean, but honestly, I bet probably not 10% of the turkeys we kill are off the roost. As far as especially in where we're at around, not it ain't like you got a decoy spread out and they're flying in the pasture coming up to you. But as far as just hearing a turkey going to them and calling them off the roost, they're just so likely to get with their hens, until they. Or else wait you out, to where, and there are times to where my rule of thumb is, if a turkey, if he gobbles to me and he's on the limb, if I'm tree yelping and he gobbles and I know he's gobbling at me, I will not say another word until he hits the ground. And once he hits the ground, I'll hit him hard. I'll hit him hard one time, and if he gobbles at me, I'll shut up and just sit there and see what he's going to do. To where, because I've been on several situations to where, it makes you feel good when you're yelping, soft yelping. He's up there in the tree. You can hear him good and he's gobbling. But I've had him sit there till 9 o'clock in the morning. They're sitting there waiting on a hen to come to them. Because they're the best vantage point they got all day to where they say, well,
Right.
if you keep calling to him and he keeps gobbling, he's liking it. He's saying, well, just come on, because we're already behind the 8 ball because we're flipping nature. Naturally, the hens go to the long beard anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're already got the odds stacked against us. So that's why I think the give and take on calling is so crucial. And you gotta be able to get inside that turkey's head and play hard to get, whether it's the terrain, the volume, I think it all just plays into the way you do your cards there to where you can be successful.
Yeah, that's the thing that I really wanted to ask you about was the roosting thing, because I don't have a ton of experience turkey hunting, but it always seems like if you can get on one first thing in the morning, it makes you feel good and you think that you're in birds, and yada yada. But honestly, for all the times I've turkey hunted, I've never killed a bird off the roost. And Tyler and I always seem to have the problem, if you get there and things are going crazy, birds are hammering, and you're just like super hype. It's awesome when that goes to happening. And then the birds fly down the other direction and they're gone. And it's just like, well, what the crap? Is there a way?
Oh, yeah.
I know you can't tell us what we're doing wrong, because I'm sure there's a plethora of things we're doing wrong. But, is there a one thing that you see guys mess up on that situation?
Man, like I said, most of the time it's overcalling.
Yeah.
But if it's somewhere where you got a chance to go scout, especially before season, or see something, and just probably some of the biggest tips you can get is if somebody goes out there and you can scout it and just naturally listen to what them turkeys are doing. Early, even if it's before season, where they're flying down, which way they're going. Because it's way easier to call a turkey where he wants to go than it is somewhere he don't want to go.
Right.
If they're naturally drifting toward a certain way, always, I think you got to use every trick in the bag with them to where you got to always put yourself in the best contention you can. And then again, it's still tough, So but I would say overcalling probably is one of the worst. Probably and I'm guilty of it now. I get caught up where I'm slapping myself for calling too much. So it's like, it's hard not to do when a turkey's burning it up gobbling at you. But it's and I say that's mainly for Easterns. You go out and kill Merriams and even Rios. Sometimes you got to call, or else they're going to lose interest.
Yeah.
Like a Merriam, you can't hardly yell too much to a Merriam if they're gobbling and coming to where. Because sometimes if you don't call enough, they lose interest and they'll go find another hen.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a give and take deal, I think, on where you're hunting and terrain too. So
that's what we find out there. Where we're heading this next weekend is Rio country, and there's just a crap ton of turkeys. And it seems like that happens. And in fact, we'll end up setting up on a bird like we did last year. That frost bird I killed. He didn't come in until later in the morning. I think he went and checked other hens and then came to us later, because there's just so many hens. And it's like what you're saying, where,
right.
You just feel like you're just yelping the woods away. If you can do it too much, but at the same time, all these other hens are doing the same thing. So you're just trying to make the same noise as they are. It's just.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's one thing. Especially a lot of people say, "Man, we got turkeys. I've seen 50 longbeards this deer season." Or that's one thing. If you got hens on a property, you're gonna have longbeards. But I've seen a lot of places where you'll go in there and it's like a ghost town in the spring.
Yeah.
Because them turkeys, they're going to break up and go find. They're going to find hens wherever the hens are comfortable at. So.
Phillip, what do you do if your cameraman spooks turkey?
Man, and that's why Drake ain't said much. I don't talk to him for 3 days.
That's funny. Well,
no, man, it's all a team effort, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've honestly spooked a turkey being a cameraman. So
that's good.
How honest are you?
I like to think I'm on it.
All right, good. I believe you. Man. Hey, but the season is still young.
That's true.
So
I'll probably bump one tomorrow morning.
Oh, Drake's he's a heck of a hunter. So me and him meshed pretty. This ain't but our second season hunting together, and I feel like we grew up hunting together. We're pretty. We take criticism pretty well and can yell at each other and get over it and go eat a honey bun together.
Yeah. That's we just got to know Drake recently too, and we always thought he had like a little Southern thing in his accent, but he's an Iowa boy through and through. And I don't know.
Well, hey, you wait till he gets back this year. He's getting more and more Southern.
That's what it is. Is last year he hunted with you, and then we talked to him, and I said, "That's what it is. That's how you know." And then he posted a picture from some convenience store with fried food in it, and I said, "Oh yeah, you're fully indoctrinated now."
Ain't no doubt he's going to be. He's slowly changing his ways.
I could come here for the spring, but I got to go home for the fall.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I can't give up.
Yeah, you don't want to be in Georgia in the fall when you can be in
I'll tell
Iowa.
you something though. Last year it was his first year coming down, and I tried to tell him. I said, "Man, look, we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. It's going to be tough." And I tried to tell him, how tough our turkeys are. And he said, "Yeah, man, I'm good." And man, by about middle of April, I could heard a thumping in the spare bedroom, and I walked in there, and he was just banging his head against the wall. and he was like, "Man, I've never seen nothing like it. There's no sense." And coming from Iowa, and he was like, "Man, the Easterns are Easterns." And then finally, he was like, "Easterns are not Easterns." Y'all have got a different breed of turkey down here. It's incredible.
Sure.
But he's adapted to it way better this year. He knew what we was getting into this year, but we've been on a pretty good run, so it's made it a little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure, man. So speaking of, tough turkeys and cameramen spooking them and that kind of thing, how willing are you to just sit in front of a tree? Do you always have to have some brush in front of you or something? How does that look for you when you set up?
Well, I mean, if we've got time to set up somewhere, we try to get the best setup, and of course we're trying to get good footage. And, we try to get over the shoulder and try to play it out in our head and everything. But, I mean, when it comes to if we just got to get them killed, we kind of try to make do with what we got, you know. And I mean, me and Drake, we killed some. It's just me and him behind that little fan decoy. So, I mean, it's just, if we get kind of caught with our pants down to where we can't get anywhere. But, I mean, typically, you try to get on a pretty good setup where we got some back covers, the main thing. Just to where you keep your silhouette broke up. So
I got you. So they're mainly keyed in on movement more than they are any kind of, that looks like a hunter over there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure, that they because even like, we got a big net and we put over us for whenever we're filming, like whoever's running camera. And I mean, you'll be amazed what you can get away with just if you stay under that net. And I mean, they'll dang near walk right up to you.
I'll never forget last year in Florida was our first hunt together, and he's like, "Man, just sit right here." And like I was out in the open, kind of on the edge of some brush, and like they were in the brush, and like I was like, "Are you sure, man? Like I'll get the brush." And like we killed that turkey at like 5 steps. Like,
oh my,
it's crazy. It's like it's just you don't move.
It's just like a ground blind. They don't pay no ground blind on no attention. So it's the same thing as long as you just aren't. Doing jumping jacks underneath it, you're roaming pretty good.
Sure. So does camo color matter
behind that thing?
Man, well, for us it does.
Yeah.
But I really, and I mean this, man. This year, even slipping around, which has been early season, but we used it all last year. That timber, we've been wearing REALTREE timber, man. It's even when it's green, the trunks of them trees and stuff. It's amazing how well it blends in.
Gotcha.
To where it doesn't. It's that dull kind of that dull finish to where it's just like the bark of a tree, to where it's not a real like a leafy pattern, if you want to call it, type deal, to where you just kind of become part of the trunk of the tree. I mean, it's we've had some insanely close turkeys, and even ones we've had hens and stuff come in that just don't even pay us no attention.
Yeah, and being a part of REALTREE, it's something I really kind of wanted to talk to you about was that the camo stuff. Deer and turkey are both very keen, but they see a lot differently, right? I think a lot of us just kind of general purpose or camo for deer and turkey and everything else we're after. But do you put certain, thought into, hey, this is a turkey pattern that I'm wearing here?
Yeah, I mean, like that. So like the REALTREE timber, like, I noticed it working even for deer. Like if I'm hunting like pines or something back home for deer, it seems to work so well because it's such a barky type pattern to where it blends in so much more than like a leafy pattern, to where and the turkey on the even when it's green, the leaves are out. If you look, especially early and even middle of the day in the shadows, if you stay in the shadows and stuff, it's still like a dark darkness in there, and it's like almost like you suck right up into it, and they don't ever even see you. I mean, which and that's another tip I've always done turkey hunting is whenever we set up is try to stay out of the sun. Try to always get in shadows and stuff to where you just blend in, and it's like, man, you didn't ever. I mean, even after we've killed turkeys, I've gone out there like look back at Drake or something, you still can't even hardly see you.
Right.
So I mean, I think that's an important deal to where, versus wearing something that is going to be real bright or something that's not really blending in your surroundings. Because I mean, let's face it, 90% of the time we're all going to have our back against a tree.
Sure.
So
yeah.
That's why I like that timber so much.
Yeah. So you're heading west for turkeys right now. What's the plan look like next fall? Because I know you're a big deer hunter too.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to get through coronavirus. I don't know what, in all honesty, I don't know what the fall is going to bring.
We had to ask it because we do a lot more deer hunting than we do turkeys. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I've got places around the house. I've got a couple of deer got my eyes on. I'm after turkey season finishes up, I'll start running cameras toward the middle of the summer. But, as far as, I do a lot of filming for REALTREE during the fall. So as far as hunts I'm going to be on, I don't know what, I'm not supposed to draw anything this year. So the majority of my stuff will probably be around Georgia. And then I got a good buddy up in Maryland that's got a good spot. I may go over there. And
that's cool.
Hunt,
that's
so.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
When's old Drake the Snake going to let you come up there and hunt one of his Iowa deer?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I may have to try to yelp him up another turkey for you.
Yeah, it's going to cost him 3 or 4 more yelping up turkeys.
You got to get the slam before you let him in on some of those big ones.
Yeah, that's right.
I know he was just talking about the big deer he had. He said, man, he should be back this year. I said, well, man, you want to do like a party tag?
Wait,
or what are we going to do?
The big deer he had, he just shot a 200 this year. What has he got up his sleeve?
He claims the one he's got now is going to break the bank.
Dadgummit.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm looking forward to watching that, man.
Got to go back to Iowa, boys.
Oh, dude, I'm putting in. KC's got his points building, but
I'm working on it.
I wish I'd have known you before this year, and you could have put me on that deer you shot, and then you could have just shot this bigger deer next year. I think that.
Hey, we put Culpepper on a pretty good deer a couple years ago.
Yeah, I went over a couple years ago. I had a heck of fun. We hunted hard. We finally got an opportunity.
It's like day 7.
Yeah.
Hunting all day.
Dude, that was a toad.
Yeah, that was a fun hunt, man. That was awesome. That was a tank of a deer. That's the first real, mature deer we had in bow range in, I think, 7-8 days hunting.
Yeah. Man, that was one of them evenings, man, that you can just tell things are going to happen. It just had the right lighting and everything, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. I told Drake, I said, man, either we're going to do something good or else I'm going to blow it.
It really was a make all in type of deal. I think we blew a bunch of deer that morning. We set up in a different spot, and then we went. Where did we go? We went to Casey's, loaded up with a bunch of snacks. It was like 10, and we decided we were going to go slip into our afternoon set.
We got in there at like 10:45, 11 o'clock, and sat and rode it out till dark. So.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a whole lot easier to do them all dayers whenever there's a chance of Mr. Big Daddy rolling through.
Oh, it's way easier doing all dayer in Iowa in Decatur County. I
Guarantee you. Same as where we live.
Yeah, for sure. All right, fellas. Well, it's been a lot of fun talking to you. It's fun to talk to somebody with a Southern accent. It's also fun to talk to somebody with a Midwestern accent, Drake. Don't feel like we're leaving you out, all right? But
hey, if y'all call back in about a week, we'll have 2 Southern accents.
Now we're talking. Hey, y'all, I need some secret information that you're going to leave us with, okay? I need to know your secret shot gobble sound from both of you. What's your secret sound you make to get a good shot gobble?
Man, I don't know. That's a dang good. I don't know. I mean, I'm even in the middle of the day, I'm a big owl hooter, so sometimes I'll even owl hoot at them.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it matter if you're using a great horned owl or a barred owl, or are they all just owls?
No, I don't know. Mine's the Culpepper owl. So I don't know what he is. It's just whatever they gobble at.
And my turkeys back home, like I feel like they gobble to a lot more. I mean, they'll gobble like geese and stuff. And I got like a peacock call in my vest that I've had for probably like 10 years. It's just like a high screeching. I don't know like what it is to be honest, but like.
I thought she was going to say.
I mean, it works every once in a while. I'm not going to say it works every time. But like if I've tried a crow call, an owl call, box call, everything else. Like I'll hit it with sometimes, and it does strike them, but that's with the northern turkeys, and they're a lot different than they are down here.
I
So
thought you were going to say that one of those 2x4s that the Bigfoot people use.
and they probably gobble that back home.
Yeah, it'd be all right. I've heard some Iowa pheasants that are loud enough to shot gobble a turkey. I guarantee you.
Yeah. I mean, pheasants cackling in the morning, frogs on the ponds, man. I mean, they'll gobble.
Yeah.
You can probably just yell. Please gobble, and they'll gobble. Those Yankee turkeys.
I know. Well, sometimes them Yankees they make funny sounds, but we like them either way. So, fellas, I hope y'all have a blast in Mississippi and kill a whole bunch of longbeards and Drake teach them how to fish and all that. All right, while y'all are there, okay? And fellas,
I'll get on it.
Y'all stay safe and well, and thanks for chatting with us.
Y'all do the same, buddy. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no
Thank y'all
problem.
for having us on.
Hey,
Take care, boys.
If any of our listeners want to tune into what y'all have going on or see some of the production that y'all are working on, where should we send them?
Yeah, well, the easiest way and the quickest for the most up to date is going to be the REALTREE 365 app.
Okay.
You can download it on any of your phone, iPad, or go on computer and do it. It's all free. You just got to put your email in, and it's all. You can go on there and watch it, and it's the most current up to date.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then it's Spring Thunder Season 3. You'll find us.
Awesome. Cool. We'll link to that in the description below. All right. Again, fellas, y'all stay safe, stay well, and have fun.
Appreciate it, guys. Good luck fishing.
All right.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate it. See you.
See ya. So we recorded this last week, and since then they've been slocking turkeys.
Yeah. No kidding.
So I actually saw. I think Drake posted a story the other day, yesterday. But we had this big front, and things went crazy, and they had to take the evening off or something like that. And yesterday, did you experience the rage that came from the west yesterday?
Our wind?
Yes.
Yes, we were at my parents' house and trees went to falling down.
Dude, we were at the lodge, and what are those things called that have oak pollen on them?
Tassels is what I call them.
Dude, I think a whole tassel was in my eye at one point. Dude,
it's been my nose.
we had just pulled the boat in because we saw the big.
Y'all were on the lake?
We were on the lake fishing, catching some catfish. Not doing that great. We were catching a few, and we were gonna whip around, try a new spot, and we come out of the cove, and I look out, and it is coming, and it's a big dark cloud. And we were like, okay, we're heading back. And we were just flying, dude. And we get back, load the boat up. We're about to clean these fish real quick, and all of a sudden it was just
60-mile-an-hour gusts.
Dude, it was. My dad was like, "Is it a tornado right now?" It was legit. Stuff around the barn was swirling and flying.
Oh, did you get swirls? See, ours was a pretty straight line.
It went nuts, man. It was crazy, man.
Out there on kind of that point that y'all are on there at the lodge, though, probably kind of just swirls around
in
the
that
lake.
big barn there,
Yeah.
I mean, but it was just it was so dusty. I had an allergy attack right after it. And
Today, so I don't have local allergies, I don't think, but something from the north gets me. On north fronts, I get real nasally, and right now I've got that just nasty feeling in my nose, and in the back of my head I'm always thinking it better not be that virus.
You might be famous if you get nasally for a little while.
I know. How about that? I'm just going to go chase deer around on foot and get famous for being nasally. But yeah, dude, same thing. That wind gust was crazy. But you were saying something about on Drake's story.
Oh, I was just saying that I think they were talking about those storms. That was kind of what shut them down because it was raining and stuff. And
dude,
I was like,
how about being a turkey and a roost in a 60-mile-an-hour? Do they just do like that? Like the Roadrunner, like Coyote Roadrunner, they do funny things, and the Roadrunner just around something with his feet.
Yeah, that's probably.
If I was a turkey, I would definitely be hanging upside down as opposed to right side up.
I was thinking how many bird nests flew out of the tree yesterday?
Oh, a bunch. I bet a bunch of baby squirrels hit the ground too.
You think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man, it's just, I don't know. It was nuts, man. I'm telling y'all, just 1 and 2 foot ends of oak trees were flying everywhere.
Yeah, all the new growth from this year is on the ground.
Nuts,
and then after that went through, all the deer went crazy and went out and ate all that stuff. Mm-hmm. They love it.
Were you at your parents' house?
Yeah.
And so did y'all see a bunch of them out there?
Oh,
after that?
dude, 180. That's not an infatuated number. That's how many there are in the neighborhood right now. 180 deer, and they're fixing to, in mid-May, drop 100 more. Where are they going to go?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
They're going to have to go across the highway or something, I think.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But
Well,
yeah, be sure and check out Spring Thunder, the REALTREE production. They do an awesome job putting out a bunch of turkey content and smoking birds. You might actually be able to learn something from them. Or with us, it's much more entertainment value when it comes to turkeys. But we do some entertaining stuff, if I can say so myself, guys. So go watch Hooked, the film that we got down there below, and let us know what you think about that. Hopefully, wish us some luck that we'll actually be able to go turkey hunting this weekend. We're actually waiting on a call from the friend of the friend of the friend of the friend right now to see if we can actually make this thing happen. We will. It's going to happen sometime or another.
Yeah.
So
hopefully this week, though.
yeah, hopefully so.
So I'm ready to do something cool.
We were talking about that a while ago. We're like, man, we're supposed to do podcasts and we're supposed to be legitimate and be real about stuff and not just be fluff. But there hadn't been a ton of stuff going on. We're trying, guys.
It's easy to talk about stuff when when you're hunting in hunting season, I guess.
Yeah.
But man, this time of year,
we are carpetbagging a little bit. We have a big thing to talk about next week.
That's true.
And
that's true.
we're holding off on that right now.
Yeah.
So that's honestly, it's like the elephant in the room, and when you can't talk about it, it's kind of like I don't know what to talk about. So we had a lot of that going on too. But either way, look forward to next week, guys. We're going to talk.
We're talking about. Go ahead.
Hopefully, some dead turkeys.
Yeah.
And some live bucks.
Ooh, we're talking about some season-changing things, bro.
Man, oh man.
Well, anyway, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do. We have a lot of subscribers right now that are new, and we appreciate that. And we hope that we are worth subscribing to. So, anyway, with that said, remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer is going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.